Rain was falling over the broken streets of old Earth. The city lights flickered weakly, struggling to stay alive under the dark clouds. A little girl named Lena stood outside a small shop holding a plastic box filled with old toys, her favorite ones. Her hands were shaking, not because of the cold, but because of fear. Her mother was sick, very sick. The hospital said they needed 5,000 credits for medicine. For Lena, that number felt like the stars, too far to ever reach. Her father had gone missing in the mining colonies years ago, and her mother could no longer walk. So the 12-year-old girl decided to sell the only thing she loved, her toys. Inside the box were a small robot dog, a talking doll with one eye missing, and a shiny ball that used to glow when she laughed. They were old, but they were hers. She had once called them her family, but tonight, family had to mean something else. It meant saving her mother's life. She walked through the busy street where humans and aliens traded food, tech parts, and junk. The aliens looked strange but not scary anymore. Some had glowing eyes, some had scales. Some floated instead of walking. Earth was no longer only for humans. After the Galactic Peace Treaty, aliens visited often. But most humans were still poor, living in broken houses while alien ships passed overhead like gods. Lena stopped at a corner where an alien merchant sold glowing stones. The alien had purple skin, thin fingers, and eyes like melted silver. He noticed the little girl standing near his stall. "Are you lost, human child?" he asked, his voice calm but cold. Lena shook her head. I want to sell my toys," she said softly, lifting the box. The alien tilted his head, confused. "Sell toys?" "Yes," Lena said quickly. "They still work. The robot dog can bark and move. Please, I need money. My mother, she's sick." The alien's silver eyes blinked slowly. He looked at the box, then back at her small, trembling hands. "Toys have no value here, human child. Go home." Lena's heart sank. She had already tried other stalls, but everyone laughed or ignored her. "Please," she begged. "Just take them. I don't care how much you give. I just need something. Anything." The alien turned away, pretending not to hear, but then something strange happened. One of the other aliens nearby, a tall creature wearing a dark cloak, stopped walking. His eyes glowed blue beneath the hood. He stared at Lena for a long moment as if he recognized her, or something she carried. He walked closer. "Let me see the toys," he said, his voice deep and echoing like it came from a cave. Lena stepped back nervously. "They're just toys," she whispered. "Let me see," the alien repeated. She hesitated, then opened the box. The robot dog's metal body reflected the streetlight. The talking doll blinked weakly as if it wanted to speak. The shiny ball glowed faintly, like it was waking up. The cloaked alien reached out and touched the glowing ball. For a second, the air around them shimmered. A soft humming sound filled the street. A sound not from this world. The other aliens looked up, startled. The glowing ball floated an inch above the box. "What is this?" whispered the purple merchant. The cloaked alien looked at Lena. "Where did you get this?" Lena froze. "It was my dad's gift. Before he left for the colonies," she said.
"He said it would protect me." The alien's eyes widened.
He leaned closer. "Child, do you know what this is?" Lena shook her head. "It's just my toy." The alien's voice became serious, almost fearful. "That is not a toy. That's Xylan core energy, forbidden technology from the old galactic wars." People around them gasped. The purple merchant moved back. "You mean that thing could—" "Yes," said the cloaked alien. "It could destroy a ship, or save one." Lena looked at him, confused and scared. "I just want medicine," she said softly. The alien looked at her for a long time. His blue eyes softened. "Child," he said quietly, "you have no idea what you're carrying. And now others will come for it." A low sound filled the sky and engines. Alien ships were descending through the clouds. The ground shook slightly. Lena held her toy box tightly, not knowing why people were suddenly running. The alien placed a hand on her shoulder. "If you want to save your mother," he whispered, "you must come with me now." Lena stared at the glowing sky, her heart pounding. She didn't understand what was happening, only that her simple wish to save her mother had just opened a door to something far bigger. Lena clutched her box of toys tightly as the alien ships roared above the city. The air trembled and lights from the sky painted everything silver and blue. People ran in every direction, humans, robots, and aliens. pushing each other to get away. The cloaked alien, whose name Lena still didn't know, grabbed her hand. "Move," he said sharply. His voice was strong, but there was fear in it too. They ran through the narrow streets as the first ship landed nearby, shaking the ground. "Who are they?" Lena gasped, her feet splashing through dirty puddles. "Hunters," the alien said. "They track lost tech from the galactic wars. They must have detected the core's energy." "The core?" "The glowing ball," he replied. "The thing your father gave you." Lena looked down at the box in her arms. The ball pulsed faintly like a tiny heart. She didn't understand why something so small could be so dangerous. Behind them, metal footsteps echoed. Not human, not natural. Hunter droids. Their glowing red eyes scanned the streets. A voice boomed from a ship's loudspeaker. "Surrender the core and no harm will come to you." The cloaked alien hissed. "They lie." He pulled Lena into a dark alley. They ran between old walls covered in posters and wires. Steam hissed from broken pipes. "I can't run anymore," Lena said, panting. "Please, I need to go back to my mom." "You can't," the alien said firmly. "If they find you, they'll find her too." "Do you want her to die?" Lena's eyes filled with tears. "No." "Then trust me," he said, looking into her eyes. "My name is Kale. I'm from the planet Resar. I once fought in the war to protect the core. Your father must have been one of us, or someone who stole it." Lena shook her head. "My dad was just a miner. He worked on the moon colonies." Kale frowned. "Maybe he found it by accident. Maybe not. But right now that doesn't matter. What matters is keeping you alive." A flash of red light cut across the alley. A hunter drone hovered above them, aiming its blaster. Kale reacted instantly, pulling a small device from his cloak. A beam of blue energy shot out, striking the drone. It exploded, sending sparks through the air. Lena covered her ears, trembling. "You killed it!" Kale looked around. "That will bring more. We have to move now." They ran again, turning corners until they reached a small metal door hidden under a stairway. Kale pressed his hand against a scanner. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside was a narrow tunnel with glowing walls, an old transport tube. "Get in," he ordered. Lena hesitated. "Where are we going?" "To someone who can help," he said. "But once we enter, there's no turning back." Lena looked at the glowing ball again. It pulsed brighter now, like it could hear their voices. She whispered, "Please, help my mom." Then she stepped inside. Kale followed and closed the door. The tunnel lights flashed blue. A low hum filled the space as the tube began to move underground. For a few seconds there was silence. Only the soft vibration of the moving tunnel. Lena finally spoke. "Why are they after it? Why is this core so important?" Kale sighed. "Because it's not just power, child. The Xylan core is alive. It's part of an ancient AI, one that could control entire planets. Long ago, the Galactic Council banned its use. They thought all of it was destroyed, but one piece survived. Yours." Lena's mouth fell open. "Alive, like it can think?" Kale nodded. "Yes, and it's waking up." The ball in the box suddenly glowed brighter, flooding the tunnel with white light. Strange symbols appeared in the air, floating lines and shapes that shimmered like water. Lena reached out, her fingers brushing one of them. "Hello?" "Lena," said a soft voice, not Kale's. It came from the light itself. Lena froze. "It spoke." Kale's eyes widened. "That's impossible." "It shouldn't," the voice continued, calm and childlike. "I remember you. You are the daughter of Elias Grant. He promised to protect me." "My father?" Lena whispered. "You knew my father?" "Yes," the core said. "He hid me here, to keep me safe. But they found me again." Kale's face turned pale. "Elias Grant, the human engineer. He worked on secret tech for the council before he disappeared." Lena's heart raced. "My mom told me he died in an accident." "Not an accident," the core said. "He was hunted. Like you will be." Suddenly the tunnel shook violently. The lights flickered. Kale cursed. "They found us!" A loud explosion echoed from behind. The transport tube's walls cracked and smoke filled the air. Kale grabbed Lena's arm. "Hold on." The tube burst open, throwing them into darkness and rubble. When Lena opened her eyes, she saw the glowing ball floating above her, protecting her inside a faint blue shield. Kale was hurt but alive. The sounds of droids grew louder in the distance. Kale looked at her and said, "You must choose now, child. Give them the core, or run and learn why your father died for it." Lena's hands trembled as she looked at the glowing ball, her toy. And in that moment she realized her father's secret was far bigger than she ever imagined. Dust floated in the air like tiny stars as the tunnel collapsed behind them. The ground was cracked and glowing faintly from the core's blue light. Lena coughed and pulled herself up. Her arms hurt, her knees were bleeding, but she didn't care. Kyle was lying motionless a few feet away. "Kyle," she cried, crawling to him. The alien groaned softly. His cloak was torn, his arm bent awkwardly. "I'm alive," he whispered, trying to sit up. "The core protected you and me." Lena looked at the floating ball. It hovered quietly, glowing like a heartbeat. "It saved us?" "Yes," Kale said, breathing heavily. "It responded to your fear. That means it's bonded to you?" "Bonded?" Kale nodded weakly. "It chose you, Lena. You're its link now. As long as it lives, you live. And as long as you live, it will protect you." Lena stared at the glowing sphere, unsure if she should feel grateful or terrified. "But why me? I don't even understand what it is." Before Kale could answer, the core's gentle voice filled the air again. "Lena Grant, I was programmed by your father to connect with your DNA. You are my guardian now." Lena blinked, her heart pounding. "My father made you?" "Yes," the core said. "He called me Orion. He said I would one day save you. And save your world." Kyle's eyes widened. "Orion. I've heard that name before." The core glowed brighter. "I am one of the last AI units capable of creating life from energy. The Galactic Council feared me. They wanted to erase me. Your father refused." Lena tried to process the words. "He died protecting you?" Kale placed a hand on her shoulder. "That's why the hunters are after you. If they get Orion, they could rebuild weapons that destroyed entire planets long ago." Lena clenched her fists. "All I wanted was medicine for my mom, and now everyone wants to kill me for a toy." Kyle gave a sad smile. "Sometimes the smallest things hide the greatest power." Suddenly the ground trembled. The sound of engines echoed from above. Hunter ships again. Red lights flashed through the cracks in the ceiling. Kale stood up slowly, pain in his eyes. "We can't stay here. There's an old base nearby, an underground human shelter from the war. If we reach it, we might find help." Lena nodded, picking up the box and holding Orion close. The ball hummed softly, as if comforting her. They moved through the ruins, stepping over broken pipes and fallen metal beams. Water dripped from the ceiling. The tunnel finally opened into a large underground chamber filled with old machines and glowing screens covered in dust. "This place," Kale muttered. "It's older than I thought." Lena looked around. "Did humans build this?" "Yes. It's from the time when Earth fought back against alien control." Kyle touched one of the old terminals. Most of them were destroyed when the peace treaty was signed, but some bases survived. He pressed a few buttons. The screens flickered to life, showing the logo of the Earth Defense Program. Lena's eyes widened. "My father used to wear that symbol on his jacket." Kale turned toward her. "Then he worked here." Before they could speak further, the core floated higher. Its blue glow turned golden, filling the chamber with light. The walls responded. Hidden panels slid open, revealing holograms. Lena gasped. "That's my father." A glowing figure appeared, a man with kind eyes and a tired smile. It was Elias Grant, her father, recorded long ago. "If you are seeing this, Lena," his voice said, "then the world has changed. I'm sorry I left you and your mother. I had no choice. The Galactic Council wanted Orion destroyed, but I couldn't let them. It can heal planets, fix air, even cure disease. But they feared its power." Lena's heart trembled. Cure disease? Her father continued. "One drop of Orion's energy could cure any illness. That's why I hid it with you, because you would never use it for war." Lena fell to her knees, tears running down her face. "It could save my mom." Kale stepped back, stunned. "Your father wasn't a miner. He was a scientist who defied the council." The hologram flickered. "If you hear this, they will come for you. But trust Orion. It knows what must be done." Then the hologram vanished. Silence filled the chamber. Lena looked at Orion. "You can cure her, my mom?" Orion glowed softly. "Yes, but only once. After that, I must rest. If used wrongly, I could fade forever." Kale frowned. "We can't do it here. The hunters will detect the energy pulse, but she's dying," Lena cried. "I can't wait." Kale looked torn between logic and compassion. "Lena, Your father sacrificed his life to protect this power. If we use it now, we may save one person, but doom billions later. Lena looked down, tears falling onto the dusty floor. Then what do I do? Orion's glow dimmed. Follow the path your father began. Protect me and I will show you how to heal your mother, and maybe the entire world. Before Lena could answer, a loud crash shook the chamber. The ceiling split open and hunter droids dropped through the hole, red eyes glowing, weapons aimed. Kale drew his weapon and shouted, "Get behind me!" Lena held the core close. The air shimmered again, and Orion's voice whispered inside her mind, "Do not fear. Lena, you were born for this." A blast of light exploded from the core, filling the entire base with energy. The underground base exploded with blinding blue light. The air rippled like water and every hunter droid was thrown backward. Their metal bodies slammed against the walls and shattered into glowing fragments. Lena stood in the center of the chaos, her small hands glowing the same color as the core. Her hair floated slightly, her eyes reflecting the light. She didn't understand what was happening. She only knew she felt awake. Kyle shielded his face, staring in disbelief. "Lena said stop. You're merging with it." But she couldn't stop. The core floated above her palms, spinning faster and faster. Energy waves pulsed through the air, making the machines around them come alive for the first time in decades. The broken screens began showing code, symbols that neither human nor alien had ever seen before. Orion's voice echoed gently through her mind. "Do not fear, Lena. You are not hurting them. You are unlocking me." The last hunter droid tried to rise, its red eye glowing weakly. Lena looked at it, and in an instant the core pulsed again. The droid froze mid-step, then melted into harmless dust. The light faded. Lena fell to her knees, gasping. The core drifted down beside her, dim but still glowing. Kale ran to her side. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head, trembling. "No, but I saw things." "What things?" Lena looked up, her eyes wide. "Stars, worlds, people dying. My father, he was running from soldiers. He was holding me when I was a baby." Kale's face hardened. "You saw his memories through Orion. The bond is stronger than I thought." Lena looked at her trembling hands. It felt like I became someone else. Like the core was inside me. Kale nodded slowly. "Because it is. You're connected now. If you die, it dies too." The core's faint voice whispered, "She is my vessel, my final host." Kale frowned. "That means if they capture her, they control you." "Exactly," said Orion. "That is why we must move before the next wave arrives." Lena's heart sank. Next wave. More hunters. Kale looked up at the cracked ceiling. "Yes, the first team was a scout group. The main force will be here soon." He helped her stand. "We have to reach the old spaceport. There's a ship there, maybe still working. If we can escape Earth, we can reach the Resistance." Lena blinked. "Resistance?" Kale gave a faint smile. "Not everyone obeys the Galactic Council. Some of us still fight for freedom. They'll know what to do with Orion." Lena held the core close. "I don't want to give it away." Kyle looked at her kindly. "Sometimes to protect something, you have to let it go." They left the ruins through a broken maintenance tunnel. The path led upward toward the surface. The air grew colder and cleaner. When they finally emerged, night had fallen again. The sky was full of strange colors, blue lightning, silver clouds, and faint red trails from ships above. The city was no longer quiet. Fires burned in the distance. Sirens screamed. Hunter ships circled like vultures. Kale pulled Lena's hood over her head. "Stay close to me. Don't talk. Don't look at anyone." They moved through the shadows, avoiding patrols. Lena could hear her heart pounding. Every sound, every metallic footstep that made her flinch. She clutched the box tightly, whispering, "Mom, please be okay." After what felt like hours, they reached an old warehouse near the city's edge. Inside, under a layer of dust, was a ship. Small, rusty, but still intact. Kyle touched its side lovingly. "The Sparrowhawk. She used to be mine." Lena's eyes widened. "Can it still fly?" "Only one way to find out," Kale said with a grin. He began flipping switches, reconnecting power lines, and typing commands on the old control screen. The ship's lights flickered weakly, then came alive. Lena smiled for the first time in days. "It's beautiful." But before Kale could answer, the core glowed suddenly. Its voice became urgent. "Incoming energy signature." "They've found us," Kale cursed under his breath. "How fast?" 40 seconds. He jumped into the pilot's seat. Get in! Lena climbed aboard, clutching the core. The ship's engines whirred, then roared to life. Dust and smoke filled the air as it lifted off the ground. Just as it rose, a beam of red light shot from above, striking the floor where they had been standing. The explosion tore through the warehouse, sending fire everywhere. Hold on, Cale shouted. The Sparrowhawk burst through the roof and into the night sky. Behind them, a squadron of black ships gave chase. Lena looked out the window. They're faster, Cale grinned. But I'm smarter. He pressed a button and the ship spun sharply, diving between ruined skyscrapers. Lasers flashed past them, lighting up the darkness. The city looked like a storm of fire and metal. Cale, Lena cried. We're not going to make it. The core floated out of her hands and hovered near the ship's front glass. Its glow spread through the control panels. I will guide the way, Orion said softly. The ship suddenly accelerated, moving faster than Cale had ever seen. The hunters behind them tried to follow, but their ships began to fail, crashing one by one into the burning city. Within moments, the Sparrowhawk broke through the clouds and entered the upper atmosphere. The stars appeared, cold, bright, and endless. Lena stared in awe. We made it? Cale smiled faintly. For now. Orion's voice echoed softly, almost like a lullaby. The journey has just begun, Lena. Beyond these stars lies the truth, about your father, and about me. Lena held the core close again, her fear turning into something new. Determination, she whispered. Then let's find it. The Sparrowhawk drifted through the endless black sea of stars. Inside, the lights hummed softly, and for the first time in days, Lena could breathe without fear. She sat near the window, staring at the glowing blue earth shrinking behind them. It looked peaceful from far away, like it wasn't broken, like her mother wasn't dying somewhere down there. Cale adjusted the ship's controls, his injured arm wrapped in a metallic brace. We're clear of their scanners, he said quietly. For now, Lena turned to him. Where are we going? Kyle hesitated. To a place the council doesn't touch. A place so dangerous they erased it from maps. Narathis. Lena frowned. Why there? Cale sighed. Because your father left something there. Something connected to Orion. The core floated near them, glowing faintly. Its calm voice filled the cabin. Elias Grant hid my source code on Narathis. Without it, I am incomplete. With it, I can unlock my full ability, including the power to heal. Lena's heart skipped a beat. Heal, you mean? You can save my mom? Yes, Orion said softly. But we must reach Narathis first. Lena smiled weakly, hope flickering in her eyes for the first time. But Cale's face remained serious. Narathis isn't safe, Lena. It's a dead world, filled with machines left from the war. They don't serve anyone anymore, but they still kill anything that moves. Lena looked out at the stars again. If my father went there, I can too. Cale glanced at her. The girl's bravery reminded him of the soldiers he once knew. You sound like him, he said quietly. She smiled. Maybe that's a good thing. The approach hours passed. The ship's engines grew quieter as they neared the edge of the known galaxy. The stars outside looked strange here, twisted like reflections in broken glass. Then suddenly a gray planet appeared ahead, surrounded by a faint blue mist. There it is, Cale said. Narathis. The planet looked lifeless. No oceans, no forests, just silver plains and ancient machines scattered like bones. Storms of metal dust swirled across the surface. Are you sure it's safe to land? Lena asked nervously. Cale smirked. Safe? No, necessary? Yes. The Sparrowhawk entered the atmosphere, shaking violently. Lightning danced across the clouds, striking the wings. The ship groaned, alarms blaring. Hold tight, Kyle shouted. The ship broke through the storm and crashed onto the metal sands with a deafening boom. The cabin lights flickered, then went out. Lena groaned. Are we alive? Barely, Cale muttered, pressing a button. The hatch opened with a hiss and cold air swept in. Outside stretched a wasteland, silent, endless, filled with the remains of broken machines that looked like giants frozen in time. Their hollow eyes glowed faintly in the mist. Lena stepped out carefully. It's like a graveyard, Cale nodded. A graveyard of gods. The core floated beside them, its light brightening. The source code is near. I can sense it. They began walking across the metallic plain. Each step echoed through the silence. Strange shapes moved in the distance, shadows crawling between the wrecks. Lena whispered, "Kyle, are those things alive?" He gripped his weapon. Not alive. Just waiting. Suddenly, one of the massive machines stirred. Its head turned slowly, eyes glowing red. The sound of gears grinding filled the air. Lena froze. "Kyle," he aimed his blaster. "Run!" The giant let out a deep metallic roar and swung a massive arm at them. They dove aside as the ground exploded. Dust and sparks flew everywhere. "Keep moving," Kale shouted. They ran between broken towers and half-buried ships. The core floated faster, its glow flashing like a beacon. "This way," Orion called. "The temple is close." The Temple of Silence. At last they reached a deep crater surrounded by twisted metal spires. In the center stood a strange structure, smooth, round, and still shining after centuries. Lena stared in awe. "Is that it?" Kale nodded. "That's not a building. It's an old data vault. One of the first AI sanctums ever built." They entered through a broken archway. Inside, everything was covered in frost and faint blue light. The walls pulsed like veins, and in the middle stood a glowing pedestal. The core floated toward it. "This is where your father brought me," Orion said softly. "He left his memory within my code." Lena stepped closer. "Can you show me?" Orion touched the pedestal, and suddenly the entire room lit up. Holograms appeared all around, showing humans and aliens working together, laughing, building a time before the war. Then, one hologram focused on a man, her father, Elias Grant. "Lena," his voice said, "if you've made it here, you're stronger than I ever was." Orion was never a weapon, it was hope. The power to heal life, not destroy it. But they feared that hope. Tears ran down Lena's cheeks. "Dad?" Kale watched quietly, his heart heavy. Elias continued, "The key to Orion's full power lies within the bond of compassion. Not in machines, not in war, in you." The hologram faded, leaving silence. Lena turned to Orion. "What does that mean?" The core pulsed gently. "It means your father gave me a soul, and he placed it in you." Before Lena could respond, the ground shook violently. Alarms blared. Outside, red lights filled the sky. Kale cursed. "They found us again." The hunter fleet had arrived, hundreds of ships descending through the mist. Lena grabbed the core, her eyes fierce. "Then we finish what my father started." The sky over Narathis burned crimson as the hunter ships descended like vultures. Lena stood at the edge of the crater, wind whipping her hair. Her small hands wrapped around the glowing core. Kale was beside her, his blaster ready. But both of them knew they were badly outnumbered. The sound of engines filled the air, a swarm of black ships spreading across the metal plains. They moved like insects, their red eyes scanning, searching. Kale took a deep breath. "They're here for the core. They won't stop until one of us is dead." Lena looked down at Orion, the blue light in her palms pulsing softly. "They'll destroy everything, won't they?" "Yes," Kale said quietly. "They always do." The core's voice echoed in both their minds. "Not if you stand together. Remember what your father said, Lena. Compassion unlocks power." Lena's throat tightened. "I'm not a fighter. I'm just a girl." "You are more than that," Orion said. "You carry both life and light." Kyle turned to her. "Listen to it. We might only have one chance." The first hunter ships fired, beams of red slicing through the air. The ground exploded beside them, throwing dirt and sparks. Kale rolled behind a metal plate, returning fire with quick precision. The sky flashed with light as explosions bloomed. Lena hid behind the pedestal, clutching the core tightly. Her ears rang. She wanted to run, but her father's voice echoed in her memory. "Never run from what is right." Orion glowed brighter. "Lena, they are targeting me." "If I transfer energy into you, we can defend ourselves. But once I do, I may not be able to return." "What do you mean?" she cried.
"You'll die?"
"I will sleep," Orion said. "But you will awaken." Before she could respond, another explosion rocked the temple. Kale shouted, "Now, Lena! Whatever it's telling you, do it." Lena stood up, tears mixing with dust on her cheeks. "Orion, I'm ready." The core floated higher, its glow turning from blue to white. Streams of light surrounded her, swirling like a storm. Her feet lifted from the ground. Every nerve in her body tingled, every heartbeat echoing like thunder. Then the light entered her. Kale shielded his eyes as the entire chamber lit up. For a second, everything stopped. Even the hunter ships froze mid-air, sensors overloaded. When the light faded, Lena stood at the center of the crater, surrounded by a shimmering aura. Her eyes glowed silver blue and her skin shimmered like glass touched by sunlight. Kale whispered, "By the stars." The hunters regrouped quickly, launching another wave of fire. Lena raised her hand, and the blast stopped in midair, hanging like frozen rain. The energy pulses trembled, then reversed, flying back toward the ships. They exploded in a brilliant storm of red and gold. She had done it, but power came with pain. Lena gasped as memories not her own flashed in her mind. Alien worlds, dying soldiers, her father building Orion with trembling hands. She saw everything he had sacrificed to protect this light. Kyle rushed toward her. "Lena, stay with me. Don't lose control." "I can see him," she whispered. "My dad. He's watching." The wind howled around them. The core's energy filled the atmosphere, spreading across the planet. The machines buried beneath the metal sands began to awaken, not as enemies but as allies. Their red eyes turned blue, their weapons lowering. Kale stared in disbelief. "She's reprogramming them." The machines bowed to Lena, their giant heads lowering in respect. A deep voice boomed from one of them, ancient and powerful. "Guardian of light." "We obey." Lena's voice was soft but strong. "Protect this world. No more war." The machine stood, forming a wall between her and the hunter fleet. When the ships attacked again, the reawakened guardians fought back, sending bursts of blue energy into the sky. One by one, the hunters fell. Kyle watched the battle with awe. The girl who once begged to sell her toys for her mother's medicine now stood like a force of nature, leading an army of machines with nothing but her will. When the final hunter ship exploded, silence returned. The air shimmered with fading energy. Lena sank to her knees, exhausted. The glow around her began to fade. Kale caught her before she hit the ground. "Easy," he said, lowering her gently. "You did it." "It's over." Lena's voice was weak. "Is it?" He looked up at the sky. The storm clouds were clearing. For the first time in centuries, sunlight touched Narathis. "For now," he said softly. Orion's faint voice echoed from within Lena's mind. "My strength is gone, but life has returned. Narathis will live again. So will your people." Lena smiled weakly. "What about my mom?" The voice faded like a whisper on the wind. "When you return, the light will guide you." Then, silence. The core dimmed completely, falling still in her lap. Kale placed a hand on her shoulder. "You've done more than any soldier ever could." Tears welled in her eyes. "I just wanted to save her." Kyle smiled gently. "And you might have saved us all." They sat there quietly, watching the dawn rise over the metal horizon, a golden light touching every wreck, every ruin, every scar of war. For the first time, Narathis looked alive again. Lena closed her eyes, whispering, "I'll go home, Mom. I'll bring the light back." Far above them, the broken sky shimmered, as if the universe itself had heard her promise. And somewhere in the deep silence, the core pulsed once more. The ship Sparrowhawk floated quietly through space, heading back toward Earth. Inside, the silence felt heavy, peaceful yet full of something unspoken. Lena sat near the window, holding the now dim core in her hands. It no longer glowed, but it was warm, as if something still slept inside. Kyle worked at the controls, his expression thoughtful. "You did the impossible," he said softly. "Narathis was dead for centuries, and now it breathes again." Lena didn't reply. Her eyes were fixed on the distant blue planet growing larger outside the window. "I just want to see my mom," she whispered. "That's all I ever wanted." Kyle nodded. "And you will." He looked at her, smiling faintly. "But you know, after what you did back there, the galaxy will remember you. The hunters are gone, but the council won't stay silent forever." "I don't care," Lena said, her voice trembling but strong. "They can have their council. I just want my mother to live." The core stirred faintly in her hands, glowing once more. Only a tiny spark, but enough to make Kale glance over. "It still responds to you," he said. "Maybe it's not done yet," Lena smiled softly. "Neither am I." Hours later, the Sparrowhawk entered Earth's orbit. The world below looked calm. The chaos from before had faded. They landed near the same old city where it all began, near the broken hospital where her mother lay. Lena stepped out first. The air was thick with dust but familiar. The streets were quieter now. People stared as she walked past holding the faintly glowing sphere. Whispers followed her. That's the girl who escaped the aliens. Is she human? What is that light? She ignored them. Her steps were steady, her heart racing faster with each one. Cale followed behind, silent but alert, watching every rooftop and shadow. When they reached the small medical shelter, Lena's legs almost gave out. The door creaked open and the familiar smell of metal and medicine filled her nose. Her mother lay inside, still and pale, hooked up to old machines that beeped weakly. Her chest rose and fell slowly, too slowly. "Mom," Lena whispered, rushing to her side. She held her mother's cold hand. "I'm here now. Please wake up." Cale stood at the doorway, lowering his head. "We don't have much time," he said quietly. Lena looked down at the core. Its light flickered, barely alive. "Orion," she whispered, "please." "You promised." There was no response. Only silence. Tears ran down her face. "Please, she's all I have. Don't leave me now." The core remained still. Then, faintly, it pulsed. Once. Twice. And a soft voice whispered in her mind, "Lena, my power is almost gone, but for love I can give what remains." The core lifted from her palms, floating above her mother's chest. Warm light spread through the room, soft and golden. The machine stopped beeping. The air shimmered like morning sunlight on water. Kyle stepped closer, eyes wide. "It's healing her." Lena watched, barely breathing. Her mother's color returned slowly. Her chest rose deeper, stronger. Then after a long silence and her eyes opened, "Lena?" she whispered weakly. Lena gasped, falling to her knees beside the bed. "Mom, I'm here." "You're okay." Her mother smiled faintly, touching her cheek. "You've grown. You look just like your father," Lena cried harder. "I thought I lost you." Her mother's gaze drifted to the glowing orb. "Is that—" "It's Orion," Lena said softly. "Dad made it. It saved you." The core's light dimmed further. Its voice, barely audible, echoed one last time. "My purpose is complete. Life continues." Then it faded completely, falling gently into Lena's hands like a small sleeping star. Kyle stepped closer, placing a hand on her shoulder. "He would be proud of you," he said. Lena looked up, eyes shining. "You mean my father?" Cale nodded. "Both of them, your father and Orion. They gave their light to you." Outside, dawn was breaking. For the first time in years, the sky above Earth was clear. No ships, no smoke, only soft sunlight spilling over the city. People came out of their homes staring at the glowing horizon. A rumor spread fast. A girl brought back the sun. Weeks passed. The world slowly began to change. The machines Orion awakened on Narathis sent energy across the galaxy. A wave of renewal. Earth's skies grew brighter. Plants began to return. Water became clean again. Cale prepared to leave, standing by the repaired Sparrowhawk. "You sure you won't come with me?" he asked. Lena smiled. "Not yet. My place is here and with her." She looked at her mother, who stood outside the shelter, healthy and smiling. Kyle nodded. "The stars will wait for you." He turned and walked into the ship. As it rose into the sky, Lena held the dim core in her hands. It was quiet now, but she could still feel warmth inside him, as if it was listening. She whispered, "You gave me everything, and I'll protect what you left behind." The core pulsed once, faintly. Lena looked at the sky, her reflection shining in the orb's surface. A young girl who once sold her toys for hope, now the keeper of light. She smiled through her tears. "Thank you, Orion. Thank you, Dad." The wind carried her words away, up into the bright sky where sunlight touched the earth like a blessing. And somewhere far beyond the stars, a faint voice whispered back, "The light is yours now, Lena Grant."